We are back. Welcome back to another video. DC Comics just released a 10-minute video going over their plans for the comic book section at the end of this year and moving forward. DC All In. And your reaction to DC All In starts now.
My name is Joshua Williamson, and I'm here
What's
to
up,
talk
Joshua
about an
Williamson?
exciting initiative coming to DC Comics in October. But
October, okay.
I'm doing it with an old friend, Scott
Snyder,
Hey,
yeah.
man, God, you look so
After
fancy.
Absolute Power,
Freaking
the
me
DC
out.
event right now.
Well, this is my show, and you're my guest, right? I'm the host, you're my guest, so we're here to talk about comic books. So let's talk to everybody about All In.
This is something we've been working on forever. We've been working on it for a couple years behind the scenes. With some incredible
Cool,
creators.
okay.
And we're just
I'm excited,
so
bro.
excited to bring it to you. So what is All In? Like, All In is the biggest initiative that DC has done in the better part of a decade, honestly. Josh,
Wow, okay.
difference between sort of an initiative and an event. Also, an event is like a big blockbuster story that creates a couple open spaces. But an
True.
initiative is a moment when the entire company comes together to kind of create a moment, like a seismic
Cool.
tectonic moment at the company.
Like New
that
52.
sort of redefines it and tells
DC
one
Rebirth.
big story that invites everybody in to celebrate comics at once. And that's sort
Yeah.
of what All In is going to be. Every initiative has its
Whoa.
purpose, and for us,
Whoa.
All In is
Yo,
around-
look at Batman, his suit, and Darkseid. This artwork is really cool. Is this Daniel Sampere or Hafa Sandoval? One of those two artists. Like Wonder Woman, I love that look. Superman and Batman has a cool look.
Rallying cry. All In is about reminding
Great
everybody
artwork.
that this medium, that comics, is where the biggest stories are told.
And actually, before this continues, Dawn of DC so far with the Teen Titans and everything going on, it's been mixed, but there's been a lot of titles I have been liking. So DC comic books have been getting better. So this is good, man. This is what we need.
It's where the characters are reborn, renewed, where the biggest
Reborn.
legacy storytelling happens.
It's giving
over
off
and over and over.
DC
It's the
Rebirth
greatest
vibes,
continuing
like it
story
really
in the
is.
world.
Like back in
Yeah, one of the things that
2016.
we've always talked about the last few years is that whenever somebody tries to do an initiative,
This
they
is
always
so
either try to do
cool,
something
man.
brand new with new stuff, or they try to do stuff that always embraces the classic. And one of the
Yeah,
conversations that Scott
yeah.
and I were having the last few years was like, how do we do both? How
Actually,
do we do a new
I think New 52 is embracing new stuff. DC Rebirth is embracing classic stuff. So are they gonna combine the two or have like two separate, like have one universe? Actually, I think that's what Absolute, they've been teasing Absolute Universe. That'll be the new universe, and then we'll have the classic universe. I hope that's what they're doing. Like, that would be perfect, honestly, for new readers and old readers alike. Like, the comic book industry needs this, especially DC Comics.
story that introduces all of these pieces of like brand new stuff, but really elevates all these classic pieces that we really love.
It starts with story. Again, an initiative like this, like All In, is about inviting everybody in, all the existing creators, some new creators, everything, to tell their best stories and to begin
I wonder
them all at
what
one
creators are going to
The
be
idea
there.
is to
Mark
create the
Waid
greatest
and
jumping
Dan
on
Mora
point for you
better
guys
be
for
there.
Many, many, many years.
They are
where
MVPs.
DC will be
Jorge
starting all
Jimenez,
kinds of
like, come
books,
on.
like brand new books, and your continuing series, the series that you love. There is no reboot. There is no retcon. But
Good,
they will have
good.
new
Yeah,
story
we don't
arcs
need a
beginning
reboot.
in
Like,
October. Everything begins there, and it all starts with
Cool.
the All In #1 special.
And that's one of the
whoa,
things, like right now,
dude, look at that image. Dude, the double Darkseid. So is Darkseid going to be the imposing force on both sides? We'll get like two different versions of Darkseid. And look at this, bro. What is with that Superman? Look at his hair. Superman got some crazy hair there. And then that looks like the New 52 Wonder Woman. Like a similar design. And of course, the Scott Snyder Batman, the bulkier one. I've heard he's supposed to be more like a thug and more, that's what I've heard, like street level, and he's running from the law. And I heard this Absolute Universe is supposed to be where the DC heroes are underdogs in the modern times. That's the whole theme. So that should be cool. And then of course the classic universe, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, the Trinity, Martian Manhunter, Flash. I think that's Wally West, because Wally West is in the spotlight right now, which is good. We had a whole great run, actually, done by Joshua Williamson, with Barry Allen. Like, give Wally West the spotlight. He deserves it. Starfire, it's cool to see her there. Booster Gold, John Stewart the Green Lantern, Zatanna. Is this the new Justice League? Because the Justice League died back in Dark Crisis like a couple years ago, and it's been the Teen Titans ever since, and that's been good, but I think it's time to bring back the Justice League and have a unique lineup, and I think this would be a really cool lineup. I actually think Absolute Power will end with the return of the Justice League. We'll see. But what else they got for us?
Now we're in the middle of this awesome Absolute Power event with Mark Waid and Dan Mora. And
Absolute Power, I was just saying, yeah.
It actually ends with some really
so
big
far
moments
good, but I
DCU.
can't say too
And
much.
that's what
It's
we
only
start
been
picking
one
things up with
issue,
All in
so
Number One in
we'll
October.
see.
It's going to be a flip book. Scott and I co-wrote all of it, but it's a flip book where one side is being done by Daniel Sampere, who is awesome.
Okay.
Who did Dark Crisis.
Yeah.
He's killing it on Wonder Woman.
He was
And
good,
the other
yeah.
side is being done by Wes Craig. Now,
I don't know who
on the
Wes
Daniel
Craig
Sampere
is,
side,
so
that side
I'll
is
wait
gonna
to see
focus
what his
on
work
what is
looks
going on
like,
in the
but
current
I'll give him a
DCU
chance.
Post Absolute Power. And you're going to get to see a lot of this through the eyes of Superman. You're going to see some teases of the new storylines that are coming up.
Dude.
But it's all with Superman.
Superman is really the core of DC right now. I know Batman usually is, but come on. In animation, in the movies, James Gunn's Superman, and now in the comics, like, Batman, he has Caped Crusader, and he's still big in the comics, but I like that they're putting Superman in the spotlight for DC all around. He was the first superhero, and right now, DC needs all the hope it could get. So,
The
good,
other side of the story
good news.
is all through the point of view of Darkseid.
This special, what it really does is
That's interesting, okay.
Darkseid as sort of who he should be, right? The greatest villain in the DCU, the end of all things.
Yeah.
And there have been some amazing stories about him, but what we kind of came up with, along with a bunch of great creators, Mark Waid and everybody else, kind of working
Okay,
on the
good.
the
Mark
lead up to
Waid.
it, is that during the events of Absolute Power, unbeknownst to the superheroes, Darkseid starts to realize that something has always been missing. He senses something in a special moment during Absolute Power that we don't want to spoil.
Okay, okay.
He senses something has changed. And once he realizes this, it sets him off on a quest that's going to bring him into direct conflict with this new Justice League that Superman is setting up, this more robust Justice League.
Yeah, so the Justice
and
League
the
are
collision
returning.
between those two forces
Awesome.
will reshape the DC cosmology in a brand new way.
Cosmology,
in a radical way,
okay.
in a way that we're
Big
really
word.
excited about. And in the midst of that, it will create, one thing it creates is a dangerous, wild new planet, a new DC universe, where we've invited in some of the biggest names in
Absolute
comics and some
universe.
rising
That's the way it
stars
is.
to reinvent the characters in personal and passionate and daring ways,
Cool.
all in one shared space. And
I like
as
that
part of a
image,
bigger story that
too.
we'll be
It kind of
telling
gives
over
me
the
like,
course
I
of
know
the
it's
next
not
few
Darwin Cook, but it gives me like a rough Darwin Cook vibe a little bit. Not all the way, but you know, it's kind of there.
years. And as part of a bigger story that we'll be telling over the course of the next few years. That's the thing to understand.
Cool,
A great
cool.
initiative.
I hope it,
launches
you
begins
know,
with a story,
5
and
years,
that
not like
story
2
creates,
years. Like,
a driving
DC
force
Infinite
for the
Frontier
company
was
for
2
a
years,
new
Dawn of
time.
DC
And
2
that's what we're
years. We
trying
need
to
a
do
little
here.
longer.
This story about the kind of collision between Darkseid, the Justice League, and what that engenders is going to be something that's going to shape the DC universe for quite a while.
And
I'm
that's one thing that's
excited,
really
bro.
important about
Like,
this
it sounds
initiative, is even though
epic.
we have these two worlds, we're telling
Especially
one
Darkseid
big
being in the
story.
forefront.
And
Cool.
part of that new world is the absolute world.
And actually, I thought Darkseid would be in the forefront of Dark Crisis. And I was kind of disappointed that it was Pariah. And, like, it was cool that it was, I forgot what it was, from Alan Moore's Swamp Thing. The Darkness, or what was that called again? Like, I forgot about it. But it was really just Pariah. And yeah, that was kind of disappointing. And Darkseid was on the side. But having Darkseid, I hope they deliver on their promises. Have Darkseid be in the forefront for a while. Really bring in the new gods, you know? We have not got good new god stories in a while.
Scott, let's talk about the absolute world a bit, and let's talk about your book, Absolute Batman.
Yeah,
Absolute
yeah.
Batman. This
It's been
design
a lot of
is
fun
interesting.
architecting all this stuff
I'll
with
give it
you
that.
and everybody else. But one part of it is this is the absolute universe. So the absolute universe, what is it? Without giving too
Wait, before we get into that, I've been sharing on the community post about the bulky Batman, like the designs lean up to this, and a lot of you guys have been against it, but let's hear Scott Snyder out, alright? I trust him. He's made some great things, so let's go, Scott Snyder. Why is he bulky? What's the theme? Here we go.
too much away because you've got to pick up the special to see how it's created. If the
Okay.
main universe is sort of predicated on Superman energy, right? And the sort of metaverse
Yeah.
concept that was introduced before in Doomsday Clock and elsewhere, then this universe is kind of founded on Darkseid energy. Now, Darkseid energy, the Omega beams, they zigzag, they're chaotic, they're dangerous, they're wild, and that's the spirit of this universe. In this universe, the heroes come up in ways that make them underdogs. They have a lot less of the
Underdogs,
comforts and
like
things
I was
that they
saying,
have in
yeah.
the main universe. Without spoiling things in each of the books, they have to be tougher. They have to be more resourceful. They've got to shine brighter, and it makes them more badass, and it's fun. It's two universes,
Alright.
one prophecy. So we've
more
invited a lot of
rough
people
and
that want to embrace
gritty.
that spirit, and they're going to
I'm
blow
interested.
you away with the takes that they've created for these characters, for Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. And
Whoa,
on.
okay.
Yeah.
All right, so let's look at this. So Batman, the design, I'm not a big fan of bulky Batman most of the times if it's not Dark Knight Returns, but it could work. I just think the artwork, like the little head is really throwing me off here. That's really what it is, but the colors look good. Superman looks cool. Well, the hair, I'm not a big fan of the hair, but there's probably a reason for that. So I'm gonna give these two a chance. Wonder Woman, I think actually looks the best. Like, look at the symbols, her design. I'm actually a big fan of the New 52 Wonder Woman design. Like the red and gray, like that silver and red. It's a really cool look, and her flying on, I don't know what this creature is. And yeah, these look cool. Cool covers. I like the idea of one side being Superman themed and the other side being Darkseid themed, like all from the Omega beams, like more darker, more grittier. So we have a darker, grittier absolute universe and a classic, more hopeful DC universe that we all know. This is a good idea so far.
Can't wait for you to see what we came up with.
When you guys see Nick Dragata's art on Absolute Batman, it is going to blow your mind. It is
Okay.
primal. This is not the Batman.
They're hyping it up.
He is
I hope it's
beast.
good.
It's really, really exciting. And one of the things that we've been talking about, you might have heard us say Superman a lot.
Yeah.
And Superman is going to be a really important part of the stories moving forward, past all in. And I am still going to be writing Superman. I'll be writing the main Superman title. And now I'll be joined
Cool.
by
He's
Dan
been doing a
Mora,
good job.
the artist,
What?
one of the best artists at DC.
Okay, that is the first thing I've heard that actually has me really excited. Dan Mora on Superman? Bro, he's been doing, oh, is he gonna stop doing Batman, Superman, World's Finest? Ah, are they ending that series? Like, it's not official, but I barely doubt he'll do both books. Maybe he is. Maybe he's good with that workload. I don't know. But if we have Batman, Superman, World's Finest, and a Superman book with Dan Mora artwork, that's crazy, bro. And he really knows how to make vibrant images, like really images that stand out, and Superman, he needs that. Like, I've been liking Joshua Williamson's Superman run. It's been great, and actually the artwork has been pretty solid, but nothing beats Dan Mora. Maybe Jorge Jimenez, he could give Dan Mora a run for his money, yeah. And there's a couple other, like Jason Fabok, like he's really good, but let's continue.
DC will come in and play with me on Superman for a while, and we're going to be doing some really big new stories in Superman. One of the things is we're going to be introducing a new Superwoman. That'll be a big mystery of who the new Superwoman is and how
is that
she got
Lois?
her powers.
Is Lois
Also, we're gonna
becoming
have the
Superwoman
return of
or
Doomsday.
Lana?
One of my favorite comics of all time is Death of Superman. And
okay.
getting to play with Doomsday and doing some really cool big action sequences of Doomsday is very, very exciting.
Actually,
and there's going to be
they did tease Doomsday in the recent Superman comic. I remember at the end of the issue, it showed, you know, the classic Doomsday hand breaking out of a chamber. So I was like, where is this going? I hope we have I don't want to see another death of Superman. Like, the death of Superman has been played out at this point. But Doomsday is cool. Let's see something new with Doomsday. Like, he can still be a wrecking machine, but let's just not have him kill Superman. Like, that's so generic. But we'll see.
one of the biggest stories I've ever done at DC will be in the Superman title.
All right,
you know,
I'm excited for it.
Along with doing Superman is, like Scott said earlier, we're going to be doing a lot of new stories starting in October. You know, there'll be a bunch of jumping on points across the entire line.
That's
you know, for
really
me,
good.
When I came back to DC,
Flash,
with Rebirth, and I was working on Flash, I felt like I was a new kid. And one of the best parts of the last few years has been watching all of these new talent and new creators coming in.
I have not been reading that.
And one of the things
any Birds of Prey fans, comment down below if it's good.
Initiatives create opportunities. And it's been really awesome watching a lot of these new creators grab this opportunity and run with it and tell some really amazing stories. And so you're going to get a lot of new
Hopefully
books,
this gets the comic book industry like up a little bit, gets people back in comics excited, you know? Where I can make some videos and people will be like, oh, I'll check that out.
It's a celebration and expansion of the great storytelling.
I want comics to thrive, and this could do that.
It's an invitation to jump in. What we were able to kind of do is create a story that in October will have every book starting a new arc. Some of them are continuing on the sort of storylines that they've been on, but it will be a jumping on point. Some of them will be brand new books over in the Absolute Universe. There'll be new books in the main universe. We're going to have brand new origin stories. From October on, everywhere you look at DC Comics will be a story beginning.
Those were great images. I got to see that again. Dude, that Batman image, that's Jorge Jimenez. I was just saying, bro, his artwork is phenomenal. Now, the writing by Chip Zdarsky on his run so far, not so good, but I'm thinking we're gonna get like a Riddler storyline next, and I hope that's good. Detective Comics by Ram V, that's been really good though. And yeah, there's actually been a lot of good storylines and, well, good comic books out right now, but not as many people are checking them out. Like, people have been kind of distant from comic books for the last couple years, and comic books have been going down. So it's good that DC is doing a new initiative. I remember DC Rebirth, that got everybody back in comics. So hopefully DC All In does the same thing. I hope it's not like another DC Infinite Frontier and Dawn of DC. It's not that those were not good, but they didn't really get people back in comic books. It just kind of continued the whole wave, like the downhill. Like, honestly, like, people were getting comics less and less, and comic books is a medium that deserves to be, you know, uplifted. People need comics, and it needs to thrive. So I'm definitely supporting this. You guys, I hope you do as well. And we're gonna finish this up, and I got a cool story for the end of the video, so let's go.
There'll be new books in the main universe. We're gonna have brand new origin stories. From October on, everywhere you look at DC Comics will be a story beginning, a place to start. There'll be incentives for retailers that will reveal at San Diego. There'll be incentives for you guys that will reveal at San Diego. But the goal of this, like I said at the beginning of this, is All In is a rallying cry. It's saying comics are awesome. Comics have been awesome.
A war cry.
Awesome.
Well, a rallying cry, yeah.
Where you can tell the biggest
comics are awesome. Like, yeah.
Ever. And what we want is to communicate to you that right now we're all in as a company. All the creators, all the editors, everybody has bought into this idea.
Good. I like to hear that. I like to hear that they're really all behind this. That's good.
Let's all launch our biggest stories, whether they're radical.
I just hope they deliver, you know, that's what they have to do.
Continuing awesome legacy stories that are happening in the main DCU. It's all in the books, it's all in the stores, and we're all in it together as fans and as creators and as retailers and everybody in the industry to say comics is awesome, and it always has been and it always will be, but this moment in particular is going to be more awesome.
I love the enthusiasm. Like, they are the perfect salesmen for this.
The tip of the iceberg.
They are honestly the best right now, in my opinion. Josh Williamson, Scott Snyder, and Mark Waid in terms of writers, you know, and Ram V.
And then we're going to get to San Diego Comic-Con, and there will be a lot of really great stuff at San Diego Comic-Con.
Okay.
We have a panel on Thursday.
What else will be at San Diego Comic-Con? I'm going to be looking out for that.
Like, there's a lot of really cool stuff that's going to be coming to DC in October, and it all starts with DC All In Special #1.
I love that image, dude. That is such a cool image. Oh, hey, let's go. Hey, All In. That's dope, man. I like it. Wes Craig, he's the only name I don't know, so we'll see. Hey, maybe he'll be an outlier. That's like a really good outlier. But that's a great, like, image to show off All In. Like, the one side with the new version, the new Absolute Universe, and then the classic universe. And Darkseid in the middle is so cool. But yeah, guys, tell me your thoughts on DC All In down below. Are you like, nah, I don't care, Ethan? Like, I've heard this so many times the past few years, like, oh, we're all in this, and all the creative teams, we support this, and this is supposed to be the thing that'll make comics awesome again. Like, I'm tired of it. I don't care, but if there's something cool that comes up, I'll probably check it out. Or are you like me? Hey, I have hope. I hope it's good, and I hope comics thrive again. We need to support this. We need to go all in. like DC is doing. And I trust Scott Snyder and Joshua Williamson. They have done a great job so far. They have a great track record, and Absolute Power right now is good. Now, it may fail at the end, like a lot of these events, they fell at the finish line, but hopefully it's good all the way through. It's only 4 issues, like don't mess up. Come on, Mark Waid, you got this. And yeah, before you leave, here's the cool story and why I love comics. So back in 2017, when, I think it was 2017 or 2018, when Dark Knight's Metal #1 came out at the comic shop near me, they had all these variant covers, and it was a Monday night. All right, I just got off of training. If you guys have been following this channel, I train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu on the side. Just got off training. I had all my homework done. I was like in 7th grade, I think, or 6th grade, like really young. And I was starting to collect comics a little bit. Not a lot yet, but DC Rebirth was the one. That was the initiative that really got me in, all right? Black Mirror was one of the first comics I ever read, but DC Rebirth, I started actually collecting. And I remember Monday night, I went to my dad and I was like, hey, at the comic shop near us, it's Kamikaze, that's what it's called. And that shop in my area is no longer around. They shut down, and I went to another one afterwards called Samurai Comics. Samurai Comics, awesome. Highly recommend it in Arizona. But Kamikaze at the time, when they were around, they were going to basically give the variant covers that they got from DC to anybody that shows up. First come, first serve. But once they're sold out, you can only get the main cover at the store. I think it was like the main cover and the main variant cover, but there were all these like extra variant covers, like Batman on a dinosaur, like cool variant covers for Dark Knight's Metal #1, and boy, I wanted them all. I wanted all 7, I think there's like 7, and I told my dad, I'm like, dude, at midnight, they're opening up the shop, it's gonna be Tuesday morning, actually no, it was Wednesday morning, yeah, actually, back then, I'm saying back then, it's not that long ago, but 2017 and 2018, comics came out on a Wednesday, then comics changed to Tuesdays, and actually like a week ago, like very recently, comics are now back on Wednesdays, which I'm happy they did that for nostalgia purposes. But yeah, it was actually a Tuesday night, and Wednesday morning, technically, at midnight, I went over there, I convinced my dad, I was like, hey, can we go? And he's like, hey, are your grades done? You got your homework done? You got good training? Hey, keep up with your stuff, but we'll get these comics, because my dad, he grew up with comics as well, and he's actually the one who got me and my brother into comics, really. So me and my dad, we went to the comic book shop, and dude, we were one of the first ones there. I remember seeing like other father and sons, mother and daughters, families, and a whole line. It was so cool just seeing a whole line outside of a comic shop at midnight, middle of the night. And it's not like the comic shop was in like a retail area. It was kind of in like a random area. There was like a Cold Stone next to it. So it's like you're not in an area that has bright lighting. It's kind of middle of nowhere. So it made it extra special. Just all these people, all these families coming out there to stick in line and get a comic book and get some variant covers for their children. For me, my dad, he watched, I got the variant covers, and that was a core memory. That's a core memory for me. And I think comics can give core memories to anybody, especially kids growing up. And reading, a lot of people don't like to read. A lot of kids don't like to read, and I don't blame them. Reading could be very tedious, but it could also be very awesome. School makes it tedious, but if you get into comics, then you could get into reading books and read comics alongside it, and it just makes you more intelligent, and you get to enjoy such great stories, man. I know we got TV, I know we got movies, but comics and books, they have their place in this world, especially comics, and comics have been kind of dying out, and I'm happy DC is doing an initiative because comics need that jump start. We need to get families, we need to get people back at the comic book store. We need to have comic book stores confident that they could actually open up at midnight and people will come in and be in a line like it's a movie coming out. Like that, dude, that's a core memory for me. I remember that, and that was the only time, because I think shortly after that, like 6 months to a year, that comic shop closed down, and I switched to the other one. But Samurai Comics, I love them, but they're really far away from me. They're like an hour away, so it's hard to get there compared to the previous one, which was like literally 5 to 10 minutes away from my house. So that was really nice. But yeah, you guys tell me down below. Tell me a core memory you have regarding comics. It could be with your father, mother, brother, family, anything where you're like, man, this is why I love comics. This is why comics are awesome. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. If you stuck around to the end to hear my story, I appreciate you. And yeah, thanks for watching, and peace out.